Hey everybody, welcome to GCRE TV. Today we have the CRE Branding Show with Stace as always every Thursday. Today we're about an hour earlier because Stace is a bit busy, so we thought we'd do the show earlier. So we look forward to having you guys join us on this show. Today we're going to talk about the Y factor and why companies need to look into that going into 2021, considering everything that's happened in 2020. And also we're going to be doing a year in review and kind of what to expect going forward in 2021. So without further ado, let's add Stace. Stace, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's like you said, 2021 is on the horizon. I'm looking forward to it. I know a lot of people are. No matter where you live in the world, 2020 has been a serious year. So we're looking forward to getting back to normal and being able to do the things we do in business, whether it's commercial real estate and
Mhm.
anything you're doing in commercial real estate. Just finding a way to get back and pick up the
Yeah,
momentum you might have had, a year ago.
yeah. Yeah, I think, certainly more than ever, branding should have been, branding and messaging should have been a key priority for companies this year in particular when, people and business is not the norm as it has been going forward. And I know one of the things we're going to talk about today is about the why factor, start with
Mhm.
why type thing, something that Simon Sinek talks about a lot. Today we're going to get Stace's version of the start with Y factor. But I think we're going to encompass it a little bit in the year 2020 and what's been going on and going forward into 2021. So Stace, I'll kind of let you sort of start, and then of course we will commentate as we go along as well.
Sure, sure. It's interesting, something you said about branding being important right now. So there's actually an index fund that is focused solely on um, understanding brand value and tracking brands that have a very good brand reputation and they have good
Hmm.
brand equity. And so I'm curious to see if how that index, those companies within the index have performed
Yeah,
this year compared to others. So I'm
yeah,
going to have to take a look at that, and I can get back to you 2021 when we come back
definitely,
next. And
definitely. Yeah, I
but
mean, especially for the companies that don't have the big names like the JLL or the CBREs or the Marcus Milchap, that is branding that's been around for 30, 40 years. Everybody knows them. But for like the smaller companies who nobody knows about, branding should have been a huge thing. And I think combining the why factor as well with branding in the year 2020 is something that people probably miss. So I'm quite excited to do this show today with you about combining those two things going into 2021, which is going to give them an advantageous or an unfair advantage over their competitors, as we say.
yeah, let's get into it then. So this is, so like you say, it's a competitive advantage, and so finding your purpose, or finding your why, as Simon Sinek, the author, points out, it goes beyond marketing, it goes beyond communication, and it has the potential to guide everything that you do as a commercial real estate professional. And if you're not familiar with Simon Sinek's work, at some point watch his TED Talks. He is an insightful guy, and so a lot of what I do, I model after the insights that he has. So I put it into practice. You probably can't work with Simon, but you could easily work with me. But a guy like Simon has really it's this scientific approach to why our purpose matters in business, and why the companies that have a purpose tend to excel and exceed others.
Mm,
Um, so purpose is like the motivational force behind what you do and why you do it. It should guide all your decisions. It can set you apart. It can give your actions deeper meaning. It can help you create deeper connections with people. Ultimately, that's what you're doing. If you're trying to understand business, you have to understand people. No other way around it. Um, and purpose keeps you inspired. When things get tough, when deals aren't working out, when 2020 hands you, a lot of challenges.
yeah,
Understanding your purpose, right, and like seeing it and always being focused on it, that's going to get you through those tough times.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, so you want to see purpose in action, like purpose, like thinking about it and like writing it down, putting it on a poster on the wall. isn't really the value that purpose can give you. So it needs to be in action, and you'll see this. You see proof of companies or your competitors even um, is that they have outsized amounts of success and they have traction for their ideas and the things they do, the products they sell, the services they're offering, because they're driven by a purpose.
Mm.
It's something that might not seem obvious at first, and you say, why does this company excel while that company doesn't? In the syndication world, you might say, why does Ashcroft, if those of you who know who Ashcroft, why can Ashcroft uh, offer lower returns but still have a lot of investors who want to work with them? Well, they understand their purpose, and they've done a better job than most syndicators in communicating that purpose so that people connect with them and want to invest with them.
Mm.
So purpose is understanding and being led by this thing that drives you. It separates the good organizations from the bad ones. And sometimes, Gavin, when people talk about purpose, they think that it means that you have to be a philanthropy, like, only nonprofits have a purpose.
Right.
That's not true. I mean, those organizations sometimes do have a purpose that's obvious to us, but when I'm talking about purpose, and what I want people to understand is that purpose means having a crystal clear objective in your mind for what your
Mm.
investing business is, and the positive impact that you can have on others, the people who you serve. Remember, business is all about serving, and you have to
Mm-hmm.
understand, who am I serving and how am I serving them? Like, what am I delivering to them? So it's not just
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm helping people invest their money, but there's something greater beyond that, because the people who are investing with you are looking to achieve something greater beyond that investment.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
think it's almost written in the mission statement, usually when people start a company. I mean, you find that very popular in the US. Here in Europe, we don't have that. People don't really write mission statements here in Europe. It's more for a US thing. But I think
yeah.
almost the why can be explained in someone's mission statement. Is that a correct thing to say?
Absolutely. So there are a couple of things, because like, it's funny that you say that. I didn't realize that that the United States, where like we use mission statement, whereas others may not focus on that. But I would say, I would like to see a company with a mission statement, which is what we do today, and also a vision statement, which is where we're going. So two statements instead of one.
Two
But yes,
statements.
but your purpose is going to be clear, crystal clear in both of those. And it comes down to, in your mission, your mission is going to describe what you do and how you do it, but it's
Yeah.
also going to describe why you do it. So
Mm.
those three things have to be part of your mission. And a mission statement is actually easy to create. It just takes sitting down and understanding the thing that drives you. You're going to start with answering, like, what do we do as a company? Like, literally, what are the things we do? What are the functions of our business? Do we develop land? Do we syndicate apartments? Do we build hotels? Do we finance deals? Like, do we create some type of financial or investment product? What you do is critical. It's a critical piece of your mission
Mm-hmm.
statement. But there's something that sets some companies apart, right? So let's say we're talking about commercial real estate here, and we're talking about syndicators. If you wanted to find a syndicator, let's say you wanted to invest in Texas or Arkansas or Tennessee, you could find a dozen syndicators who are investing in the area that you want to invest in. And let's say you narrowed it down even some more, and you said, well, I want to invest in value add apartments in Memphis. Okay, you're going to find multiple syndicators who are doing that. But the thing that's going to separate those guys is how they're doing it. So we call that a USP, unique sales proposition, and that's the thing that's going to help set you apart. It might be a proprietary process, it might be specific market knowledge, it might be your ability to create certain deals because you have uh, uh, connections in a certain network.
Mm-hmm.
Your USP. So that's how you do something, right? So if you think about GCRE TV. It's easy to use you as an example because you're right here. So I would say your USP, and you might say, hey, there's more to it than that. But what I see as your USP, your unique sales proposition, is the breadth of CRE programming, commercial real estate programming. I think it's the experts that you bring on, and I think it's the format in which it's available. So tons of people making real estate related content online right now, whether it's blogs, podcasts, videos, whatever it is. But your USP is the platform that you have. This is available on Roku. This is a channel that's all about commercial real estate, and you bring on a certain type of expert or guest, like you mentioned Mauricio before. That's your USP. So that's how you do it. So what do? You create content. How do you do it? On this platform. So it's something that's going to help make you more unique. Something that I like to think about is Airbnb. So this morning I was watching some financial news, and the founder of Airbnb was on, and he's talking about what's going to happen in 2021, and I'm thinking about his business, and I'm saying, well, how is he different? How is Airbnb like this magical thing? So I mean, I know they've had some tough times right now, just like the rest of the industry has, but Airbnb has created a platform where complete strangers can trust other strangers, so that you or I can travel anywhere in the world and we feel completely at home in a stranger's home. Now,
Yes.
Hotels have always existed, right? Even there in Switzerland, you have hotels.
Right.
Here we have hotels. Home rental sites have existed for 20 years, but Airbnb understood some need that travelers had and found a way to solve for that need. That's their USP, their unique sales proposition. They've done something that nobody else to that point had created. So I think that's a good example of somebody differentiating how they do business. Now, so I'd ask people watching right now to think about your own business and think about your competitors who might be offering the same service, and ask, what's the way that you deliver something that's unique? Like, how you measure that is how you measure the how of your business. So you got your what, you know what you do, and the how, right? So every real estate professional knows what he or she sells, and some of them know how they do it in a different way. So you think about everybody at the top knows what they do. Some of them know how they do it, and they're able to articulate the difference. And that's, you start to get some more traction with people. You start to make deeper connections. But the most elusive part of this is the why, right? So the why is the thing that drives you. So you know what you do, so you know how you do it, hopefully. And deep down inside of you, there's a reason that you're driven to do something. And if I were to ask you, like, what's the reason you're driven to create this network? And it's the answer is probably not going to be money, because money is or revenue is a byproduct of you doing your job well. But you have a desire to educate people, right? I mean, like, what's the thing, the passion that drives you, or the purpose?
I would say, of course, to make a difference in the community to start with. For me, as you know, I was an ex-cop, so I've seen and investigated a lot of charlatans, as we call them. And there's quite a lot of them in the real estate world, as like every other world there is, right? But I think I got fed up of people being taken advantage of a lot. And I wanted to create a platform where people could actually come and get useful, really correct information that they could use and implement in their lives and change lives. So we really see this as changing lives, changing families, and changing communities.
Yeah. So that goes way beyond just producing content. It goes way beyond making people aware of investment opportunities.
Yeah.
And so I'm really happy that you said that, because ultimately, no matter what business we're in, like, touching lives, changing lives, affecting people in a positive way is what helps separate the really successful companies from those that might just be good. It's the difference between good and great. So
try telling that to a Silicon Valley investor.
What's that?
Try telling that to a Silicon Valley VC or an investor.
Well, it's interesting is that revenue is something that drives all of our missions, and it has to be part of what we're doing. Like, with a business without revenue is not a business. but there are a lot of businesses that are focused on money, or focused only on the bottom line, and they're missing an opportunity. And don't take my word for it. Look at your competitors and see who stands apart and how they're successful. And it's not that they're offering a different product, because we can all offer, for the most part, unless you've invented something unique. But in real estate, for the most part, we're all offering a similar product. It's this piece of land or that piece of land, and it's available to anybody for us to purchase. And we all have the same way to communicate, right? So we all have the same platforms, whether it's YouTube or a website or social media, LinkedIn, whatever. So what's the thing that separates those guys who really succeed? It's them having a well-defined purpose and being able to articulate it to you. And when you're able to do that, it guides you as a business, as a commercial real estate professional, but it also helps you resonate and attract people, because people are looking for businesses not just that provide a good return, but beyond that, they want, and whether people are able to say this or not, people want to connect with a business or a person or a professional on a deeper level than just the return. It's innate in our biology. It's science, because like the part of the brain that controls our behavior, the thing that will encourage us to actually invest, to take an action, that part of our brain is not affected or influenced by words, logic, or reason. It just, this is the thing that I have these conversations with people like, oh no, but like people make decisions based on numbers. It's just not possible. I mean, like you can say it again and again. It doesn't make it possible, because the place where decisions are made and the place that influences our behavior, it's the oldest part of the brain. It's the limbic system. It's not affected by language. I mean, like we talk about, like when somebody puts the deal in front of you and you look at the numbers, you're like, yeah, I just don't feel it. I don't feel right. So that's what it is. It's like this emotion. We can't put our finger on it, right? But
yeah, Jordan Belfort talks a lot about that as well, and he's a hardcore salesperson, as you know.
Yeah. I mean, but he's got it right. He understands that connection is that you have to make somebody feel something first before they're going to do something, because that's ultimately what we wanted people to do, is take an action, to commit to you, to invest with you, to sign up with you, to register for your webinar, whatever it might be. To make somebody commit to an action, you have to influence the part of the brain that controls that, and that part is the limbic system. And that, again, that's the emotional center of your brain. It's the oldest part of your brain. It's like when we were lizards, I mean, like, or whatever, wherever we were in the evolutionary chain, that's that part of the brain. The more evolved part of the brain is capable of listening to language and understanding language, but it's not able to make decisions. It's not able to influence your behavior. So and your purpose taps into that part of the brain. What you do does not tap into it. It might give people additional details that will confirm the decision they've already made. Our brains play tricks on us as we're making decisions. We're like, oh, I made that decision based on logic and reason. Well, it's just not possible. It's like denying gravity exists.
Yeah.
So that's what guys like Jordan and Simon and other very smart people have figured out. It's like the purpose. Yeah. It's your why.
And I think that's something that in the year 2020, and I will say the year 2020, because it's quite an amazing year we've had. And I think one of the things I have seen is there's companies that are still churning tons and tons of money over in revenue. And then there's companies who are quaking and falling, and they're asking themselves why they're falling. And I think when it comes to communication, that's the key, as you and I have spoken many times in the past episodes, is key and vital in getting your brand message across, but also is understanding the why is the core of anything before you write any marketing or messaging or anything. So again, you see it all the time with real estate agents or realtors, as you guys call them in the US. They walk into a property and they say, here's a property for sale. Or in the UK, you see the same thing. Whereas I have seen some really smart realtors walk in and they start with the reason, how would you like to see yourself in this property? Wouldn't it be nice to see yourself in this property? I mean, I believe the reason why this property is on the market, it was built for you. And they use the word why. And when you use the word why in a conversation, according to Jordan Belfort, it makes people think with that part of the brain and it really connects with them. And that is why sometimes a deal gets done and they go, did I really buy that? But you wonder why. And I mean, that's a little bit confusing what I said, but it's always about the messaging and the communication. It has to have that why in it. And I think real estate professionals, I would say is the word now, need to really look at their messaging going forward, because people have been bombarded so much with advertisements. And this is one of the reasons why GCRE deliberately kept advertising off the station right now, is because we want to be like the Netflix in that sense. We want uninterrupted, proper shows where people aren't getting bombarded with other stuff, because people are so hit with it many times and the messaging is lost. The reason why you're doing something is lost and everything is lost in the whole thing. So I think companies going forward really need to kind of look at the why when they're writing the messaging and be able to touch on an emotional level as well, but have the clarity in it. So it's a few parts that come together: the why, the communication, the clarity, the direction, as you talked about, where we're going to go with this, and really position them into the future with the why. I think that's a really powerful thing. When you could position somebody into the future with a why statement, it sells all the time. Steve Jobs, I think, did that perfectly. That's why Apple was so successful for so many years and still is, I think.
Yeah. It's what you're describing. So the example you gave of that real estate agent who's showing somebody a home or a property, and they're starting with the why, which helps people make a quicker decision. So if that real estate professional didn't start there, but they just started with the facts, the figures, those details, that buyer would eventually come around to the why themselves. But they've had to do a lot of mental processing to get there. Yes. As a sales professional, no matter what industry you're in, right, whether it's real estate or technology or whatever it is, communications, you have to help your buyers buy. You have to make it as easy as possible and remove the friction. And I hope that's what we see going into 2021, when people have had a chance to reevaluate. We've all had probably more time than we want to sit and think about our lives and our businesses. I hope people say, hey, we're going to reset, and we've got an opportunity here to understand, to tap into what's really important to people.
Yeah, I know at GCRE we're going to be taking our break during the Christmas break to do that as well, to rediscover, the reason why we started this, the messaging and everything. And you mentioned Simon Sinek. For those of you who are looking, if you've never looked at his video on YouTube, Start With Why, I strongly advise you look at it, because in there he gives an example with Steve Jobs and Apple. People always start with what they do, how they do it, and they never go to the why. Whereas Steve Jobs gave that example with Steve Jobs about, everything we do it. I can't remember what it is, but it was beautifully put across, and the messaging was so spot on that it made you just feel connected to it. And when you start with the why, it really does connect you. So I think real estate, because this is the realm that we're in, people need to connect with people emotionally when selling something or doing something. Why would you not want to invest in this fund? It's going to secure your family's future. Imagine 5 years from now, you're on a boat with your family and people say, well, why did you do that before? How did you get here? And you can say, well, the person told me, why would you not do it? Your family is of, importance to you. Your security is of importance to you. It gives a different message than me saying, hey, you know what, Stace, I have an investment opportunity for you. It's the best thing. It gives 8% return. You're going to enjoy this. It's going to be in Georgia, whatever it is, right? Or I say, Stace, tell me something. Why would you not want to have an opportunity to invest in something that's going to give your family a sense of security and financial stability in the future? It just connects differently.
It does. And you know what? So if you were to say to me, hey, this investment is going to earn you a lot of money. And so if I look into the future and think, oh, great, I'm going to have a lot of money thanks to this investment, or I've got these great returns, my brain will not stop there. If I'm looking for happiness, I'm going to say, oh, and now with that money, I can do X, Y, and Z. I can travel. I can spend more time with my family. I can build a nice vacation home. That's the why. So just saying you're going to earn money, you're going to have good returns is not enough, because I can earn money in lots of different ways. But if you're
Mhm.
able to say to me, this is what you're going to get, that's the purpose, that's what
Yes.
the vision that's driving you, it's a much deeper emotional connection
Yeah.
to me, and I'm much more likely to pursue that. So
Yeah.
that's a good point.
I wonder if I could get Jordan on the show. He's one of my mentors that I have, but I would love to get him on one of the shows with you guys to talk about that, because he talks about positioning people into the future, and showing them the why it's going to work and stuff, and he does really well to do it. But definitely, I think starting with why and then the what and then the how you do it is the way forward, rather than the what you do, how you do it, and never a why.
Mm-hmm. I
But
think you know what I'm going to do. So I'll on my website I'm going to post a PowerPoint. So Simon Sinek did this. He did a PowerPoint and he boiled it down. I think it's just like 10 slides, and you can go through
yeah.
it in like 5 minutes. I'm going to post that to the blog section of my website. I'll do that this afternoon, so that viewers can go and they can find that. So you can go and find the Simon TED Talk, but you can also find this PowerPoint. Because I know I have it somewhere in a file,
Mhm.
but it'll just explain it crystal clear, and you can make it actionable to yourself.
Yes. So now going forward in 2021, how can somebody use their why? Are you saying that they need to? I mean, I personally, I'm very blunt, and people either like me or they hate me. I'm like, what is that fruit? Grapefruit. You either like the grapefruit or you hate it. I'm kind of
I
controversial
don't like
sometimes.
grapefruit, but I like you.
Correct. And I think a lot of people in the real estate world, and this is what GCR is trying to do, especially this is why we enjoy doing the branding show. We've had people ask us, why a branding show? It's never, it has nothing to do with real estate. It has no purpose to real estate. And I said, but you're missing quite a unique point, because the reason why your business isn't very successful is because you don't know how to position your messaging. The reason why JLL or Marcus Milchap is killing you in the marketplace is because you just don't know how to do it. When you speak into people, if branding isn't just a written word, branding is how you speak to people as well. Branding is about the verbal message as well, not just a written word. And when you express a verbal word, you cause more emotions to come out in somebody than when you write it. There's something about, NLP is used a lot in this world for convincing people when they read something to buy into it. But I still believe that when you look at something visually, or you speak to somebody face to face and you can move them emotionally, you're more likely to get a sale. And I think the real estate professionals, this is why I want to do this show with you. And again, I say why, because for me, I want people to be better at selling. I want them to be better professionals. And only through this show, we could do that. And we may be hated for it or we may be loved for it. But definitely going into 2021, I think people need to relook at their messaging and how they position it verbally, but also written. And that's my kind of 2 cents for 2021. What is yours, if I may ask?
Yeah, so I would say if you're not reevaluating what you stand for and your values, I'll tell you this, your customers certainly have. And in business, we need to understand people, the people that we serve. And if we're not reevaluating what we do, we're going to miss the mark with our customers, because our customers are absolutely, like we see this in all walks of life. If we can't, if we're not keeping pace with them or solving their new needs, or like we talk about the new normal, everybody's life has changed, and we're going to have different priorities going
Mm-hmm.
forward. Whether that's we want to spend less time at work or more time at home, or less time at home or more time, whatever it is, you have to find what's important to your customers, see how their why has changed, and make sure that yours is matching up with them. So before you can change your why or your purpose, you need to understand it. You need to go
Mm-hmm.
through that process.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Stace, that's all the time we have for today for this show. I know you're busy. You got quite a few things going on for today. If I don't speak to you before, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and don't get too much snow on the East Coast of Boston.
Okay.
And Stace, for anybody that wants to get hold of you, how do they get in touch with you again?
Sure. They can go to our website, which is trustdeepagency.com, Trust Deep
Mm-hmm.
Agency. And you can find that Simon Sinek PowerPoint. I'll post that later.
Sure, no problem. Well, it was really nice to have you on the show as always, and we look forward to having you again in the new year and doing some really awesome stuff going forward.
That's
Take
right.
care. I hope you have a good one.
Let's take care. Bye.
Okay.